Perfect. Yeah. So we'll get started here just with Emerita. So David Gower, I see you there. If you can unmute yourself, we'll start off with you. So these words were emailed in by John a few days ago. What is the current status of the legal dispute over the Asna Collar mine? Are they expecting a decision in June? And assuming they're victorious, Emerita being they, will Minera, Los Frailes / Menorbis / Grupo Mexico have any recourse to appeal?
The status is as much as it has been. The people that were charged with the corruption charges did file an appeal, and this has been through numerous appeals already, about a month ago or so, and it was rejected immediately by the High Court. So essentially, at this point, the status of the trial is a sentencing process. And really, there are 9 people charged in this process, 2 from the company and 7 from the government. If even one of them is found guilty, then this is over for us. The law the part that we're focused on, and we're really not too focused on what the penalties are going to be. We just want the crime firmly established, because under the public tender laws, this was a public tender. If there's a crime committed in the awarding of a tender, that bid must be disqualified, and it must go to the next highest bidder. And we were the only other bidder in the process that was qualified. So we don't know exactly the timing. I've heard it should be imminent. The amount of time that the 5 judges who are doing this part of the process have had the material, and they've been through a couple of appeals over the last few years, so they're already very well familiar with all of the information anyway, so we don't expect it to take too long. So I am told perhaps this month, but given it's a process that's not in our control, I would just suggest that it'll be when it is, but we're really close to the end. It's been 7 years, and we've been through many appeals through that process, and it's essentially at the end now.
Okay, great. And same question from John. What are their plans for Ontario land claim in the vicinity of Paymogo? Will they do any exploration there this year?
Yeah, so we haven't really announced that one yet, but it is on the website and would be in the next press release. So we've expanded the land position on the Iberia Belt West project. It's not finalized with we haven't actually received the license. However, it has been approved by the government, and they have put it on their website. So that at that point, nobody else can get it. We can't work it quite yet. Our intention will be to work it later in the year. There are 3 known mineralized zones on those claims. And if you look at what we have adjacent to it on Iberia Belt West, or Paymogo as you refer to it, it really looks very much like what you would see, say, on the south flank in the Matagami camp in Quebec, where you've got a number of deposits and mineralized zones along a timeline, which in Quebec, of course, would be the key to a fight. But so it's very prospective ground. There's some small historical workings, very old, and at least 3 known mineralized zones there, as well as what we're planning to drill.
Okay, and last one here from John. When do they expect to start exploration on the newly acquired Nouvello Tintillo property?
Nuevo Tintillo, we are going through the process of getting the approval for the work program now. It's similar to Infanta, where we've got the drill set up presently, in that it's classified. It has no restrictions in terms of development through the environmental department. So that one we can permit fairly quickly through the mines department. We don't have to do any kind of an EA to start the work there. So I would say later in the summer we should be in a position to start a program there. if you saw the release last week, it's quite a large property, and there are 8 zones of either mineralization or small past producers, small open pits along that structure, very close to Asnocoir, and also very close to where Pan Global is working. I think they're actually tied on to the south.
Hey, great. We did just receive a chat question here from Dr. Jones, so it is a 2-part question. I'll ask the first part. Can David Gower explain the possible upside of the development aspects of Paymogo utilizing a single mill complex? Comment on what minimum value per ton is needed compared to the historically high grade values of La Infanta and Romanera.
Oh wow, that's a big question. The Infanta is a very high grade deposit. It's, you know, we're looking at holes there that have between 2 and 4% copper and typically 12 to 25% zinc with, you know, 100 to 300 grams per ton silver. So without just picking the highest grades, if you look at today's metal prices, the value of that rock is over $1,000 a ton, and that's it. The deposit comes to surface. So the first holes that we expect to drill here will be confirmation holes, because this has not been drilled since the 80s. So we need to do some of that work in order to convert it to 43-101. So that's the first results, but we've also got evidence based on our mapping that it was drilled over about a 450 meter strike length by Phelps Dodge in the 80s, and that was the extent of the property at the time. We've mapped the mineralization, and Rio Tinto, who had the surrounding ground at the time, did some drilling that shows it to be about 1.2 kilometers of mineralization. So that drilling will significantly increase that. The mining should be relatively low cost. It's going to be a ramp access underground, fairly straightforward. It's only been drilled to about 110 meters. We hope to take it down to about 300 meters. Romanera is a much thicker deposit. It's a 34 million ton resource based on work by Rio Tinto in around the same time in the 80s. Prior to that, it was held by Asturmet Zinc, which did some drilling in the 60s and discovered it. It was a zinc-rich deposit, which in those days, everything was about copper. So they're only about 8 kilometers apart, so definitely a combined, a single mill would be in the cards for those operations. And in fact, there's a third deposit, El Cura, which is about halfway in between. So it's El Cura, we don't have drill hole data for. We have about 50 holes for each of the others, but it was mined about a century ago for copper, gold, and silver. And Rio Tinto did do some drilling. We just don't have the data. So that'll also be drilled. So, you know, if you think about Romanera, will have, it's lower grade than Infanta, but still very good grade. Could be $300 to $400 a ton rock. Infanta could be over 1,000. These are not 43-101 numbers. I'll make that very clear. These are kind of in situ gross metal values. We would see costs, you know, in, let's say, $100 to even $120 a ton for mining milling of this material. The margins will be extremely good, you know, if we're anywhere in a price environment close to where we are today.
Okay, great.
What was the last part of that question? I think I answered most of it. But
what minimum value per ton is needed compared to the historically high grade values at La Infanta and Romanera?
Okay, I think that was the last thing I said, yeah.
Perfect. All right, we'll move on to another question here, but I think you'll probably have some new questions as well, David, so if you could stick around. And actually, we just had one come in here for Pontus, so we'll go ahead and introduce Connor. So plant-based proteins is a very busy opportunity. How are you different from the competition?
Hi everybody, thanks for having me on this call, and thanks Dave and Zinti for putting this together. But yeah, so plant-based protein is a huge space, and I believe there's tons of opportunity for everybody involved. But how we really differentiate ourselves from all of the players in the space is that our whole goal, as much as we're heavily focused on plant-based protein, the technology that we have with CVIS, which stands for a closed environmental vertical aquaponic system, we have the ability to actually grow any kind of plant or fruit or vegetable. So it gives us the opportunity to be able to do things in a little bit of a different way. Where a majority of companies that are plant-based protein that you see today, they buy fruits and vegetables from all different areas around the world, and then they make a product and they build a recipe out of it and sell it. What our long-term vision is for Pontus is, we have tons of different recipes and things like that we've built already with water lentils from burgers and pasta and all that kind of stuff. But the long-term vision for it would be that any product that we create, we have the ability to be able to cultivate it in our CVIS system using aquaponics to allow us to be able to produce not only just one product, but every single product and every ingredient that's used in any of the recipes that we create, whether it's a plant-based powder or it would be a ready-to-drink product or something like a burger or something like that. So, really for us, the vision is to be able to create a biosecure product, which is above certified organic level. And I think a lot of people think of organic as the pinnacle for health, but growing something in a biosecure way where you control the air, the water, and every nutrient that's put into that plant bed, that's our idea of the safest way to eat food. So.
Okay, and just keep piggybacking on that, we do have another emailed question. So what is the expected completion date for the construction of the facility in Surrey?
Awesome. So I think there's like a video that we're going to pull up here really quickly. We were actually at the facility yesterday, really trying to, work with our GC and make sure that we have the right, the whole right team to be able to put this together. But really, we believe that we're going to start construction very soon in the next week or two here. And our whole entire goal is to be able to have it up and fully operational within 4 months. The facility itself is already put together, so you guys can see that. But the whole inside and our growing system is like a giant Lego set. And for us to put that together and have it up and operational, we think we'll be able to do that in 3 to 4 months. So it's exciting.
And I'm just going to share that one more time there. Sorry about that. Maybe you can just...
And the cool part is we actually initially set out to build a 10,000 square foot facility. But, we had this opportunity to take advantage of a 20,570 square foot facility instead. Now, instead of only being able to grow 3 levels high and to have 3 towers, we're going to be able to go have 4 towers and go all the way up to 9 levels high because this building, the ceilings are 33 feet. So it really allows us to be able to produce that much more. And initially, we thought our max output would be, about 6 metric tons in our 10,000 square foot facility. This facility allows us to be able to go up to 11 metric tons of product a year. So we're excited to be able to have that increase.
Oh, just let the show there.
You can see all the rebar there. So we're going to be putting those fish tanks in pretty soon, as well as once all the equipment arrives for the growing, then we'll be putting that together as quickly as we can as well. The awesome part is going to be to be able to see this when it's all done, is to be able to see the 9 levels high and having the glow of the growing will be just amazing to be able to see. And we'd love to do tours for anybody who would like to go by and check out the facility after it's up and operational.
And just another quick question here. When will your pre-production lab be available?
That will be quite soon, actually. So we already have a crew in there starting to assemble and put it together. We think by the middle of this month, we'll be able to have our lab up and operational. Tons of samples to be able to go out, but really the lab it allows us to be able to do a lot more R&D with the product, to be able to see all the different types of recipes and products we can create with it. And then the second thing, it allows us to be able to get the product into the hands of our distribution partners who we plan to utilize to be able to offtake this product. We've had a lot of discussions with a lot of different buyers from big box stores and different companies that would want to carry our product, and there's a lot of excitement around it. So our goal is to get it in their hands as quickly as we can.
Perfect. Okay, great. So we'll move on here. Arctic Star, Pat, you're right here, so it's easy. So following the results of the first kimberlites found in Diagram, what are the plans for the summer/fall months?
We have Two of our pipes are with 2 labs right now. We expect results in 2 to 3 weeks. Other than that, we'll be going back this summer, doing geophysics and possibly some drilling. Some of the targets we have are land-based, which is positive, so we could do them in the summertime. We have done geophysics with this program of drilling. We did geophysics as well. We're just getting those results back, and we have a fair few more targets to get excited about here. So we'll be doing some drilling in the summer, and we will be doing geophysics in the summer. And we'll be evaluating the results we get back from the 4 pipes that are in the labs presently.
Okay, great. We'll just see. Okay, so we'll move on here. Just based on that, we'll go to Lakewind. So if you want to answer for Lakewind as well. So per your last news release, when you received a permit to drill, is there plans for the drill program at all?
Yeah, this summer we plan to drill the cloud project again. We got very encouraging results. We want to go back in there. It's a land-based program. The quartz property is a lake-based program, and that's better drilled when freeze-up happens. So we'll be in later this summer drilling on cloud again to do the infill drilling.
Perfect. Okay. All right. So, we do have a question here from John Rice for Arctic Star. Is there any assay results?
Next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll have 2 pipes out of the labs, and we'll have 2 more going in right after that. So with this summer, we'll have results of 4 pipes. So we'll have the diamond results very shortly on the first 2, and probably 4 to 6 weeks after we get those results, the next results will be in hand.
Perfect. Okay. All right, we can move along. John says thanks. So Eagle Bay Resources, Steve, if you're there, we have 2 questions for you. The first one, geopolitical complications in the past between Asian rivals Japan and China have resulted in export disruptions from China, most notably with REEs, rare earths. How does this instability favor Eagle Bay? Might have to unmute you there.
There we go. Great, thanks very much. Yeah, great question. Thank you. In regards to that, I've followed closely, and if you guys have too, you've seen China's cut off their resources to Japan with rare earth elements, which for companies like myself and Eagle Bay Resources gives a great opportunity for Japan having to look for resources elsewhere. And different investors having to go elsewhere. There's quite the demand for rare earth elements. If you attended the rare earth element show we had not long ago, just the past year, there's been about 3 million vehicles, electric vehicles that have been put on the road. By 2030, they're predicting there's going to be 46 million per year. So without rare earth elements, you're not going to have those electric vehicles. So at the moment, places like Japan and other places are really looking for different resources, and BC being one of the main targets for exploration and discovery. So a very exciting time for Eagle Bay Resources.
And so on that, Eagle Bay is still private. So can you tell us anything about the process of becoming a public, how far along you are?
Yeah, definitely. Eagle Bay at the moment, as David mentioned at the start, we do have a financing open at 7.5 cents. I'm raising $1 million. I'm at just over $250,000 with some high net worth individuals that are pending. After wrap those up, should be looking at just over $500,000 with this financing. Again, that finance is 7.5 cents. 1 year warrant. The first 6 months is at 10 cents, followed up by the remaining 6 months at 15 cents. And once again, a very exciting time to be in this this industry here. And if you have any further questions on that, I'd be happy to answer those.
Okay, great. That's all we got for email questions. But if you do have any questions for Eagle Bay, just you can contact them too, and we'll forward it along. Okay, we'll move on here to Zambezi. Justin, if you're ready there.
Absolutely.
It is unmuted there. So 2 questions kind of in one. So what can you tell us about the state of the company, kind of updates, and then when do you envision being public?
To answer the second question first, obviously I can't know that for sure, but our hopes are that we will be trading sometime around October. What I can tell you is that everything is going right on schedule. The prospectus is being finalized. The two components, obviously, the independent audit and then the business plan component. We will be closing up our current round of financing, as I say, in less than 10 days, with the idea to allow Jody Belfleur, et cetera, to move forward towards filing. Regarding the actual progress on the company, there is unfortunately much that I am not at liberty to discuss because of our intellectual property filings. However, what I can tell you is that the process of refining the new board with the OEM manufacturer in France, in Vance, France, Tahi Sport, is complete. As of yesterday, we finalized what the actual first mold size will be. To explain, we have the new board design, but obviously scaled up for different age groups and body sizes. That process is complex. As of yesterday, we know that the mold that will be made will be what is effectively the 98.5% size, meaning it is 98.5% of 100%. We know this now from testing on the weight-bearing capacity of the board. We now know that 98.5% is a sweet spot where a person of up to 240 pounds or more can still ride the board, although they should be riding 100%. They can still ride it, but that 100 and 170, 165, 170 pound bracket all the way up is perfectly suited. And of course, as we all know, the brilliant thing about the Zambezi board is that even a child can ride such a board, so no one gets left behind on the beach. As we speak, a demonstration fleet of 18 boards is being completed. The boards themselves have already been made. They have been coated in a very, very high impact resistant polyurea, and they are now at one of Vancouver's foremost fabrication companies being sanded, and they'll receive beautiful satin white coating. At that point they'll be returned to the neoprene factory, where they will receive their new completely optimized padding. These boards will serve as a sales demonstration fleet in Europe starting in July. We expect the production boards to start coming off the line sometime around late October, early November. So what is happening right now in Vance is that the aluminum mold is being planned based on the work that we've been doing. I can tell you that the performance of the new board has surpassed even our wildest dreams. The boards you see there behind me are spectacular, as you know. But by removing the nose for the consumer version, the agility, the fun factor, the visibility, I think you'll all be very, very happy. Secondly, the redesign of the pad has opened up the side of the board for decaling graphics. And we have Andy Schmidt, our marketing guy in Germany, is already working on the decaling for that area. So I do very much look forward to being able to show you what has been happening. We expect the new designs to be filed imminently. These are revisions, obviously, to our existing designs. But we want to get credit for everything we can. I hope that goes somewhat towards answering the question.
I think it does. Yeah, definitely good update. Thank you. So we do have another email question, and thanks for Zambezi. This is going to be for Commerce. It's sort of a Commerce/Seville because it's based on your joint drill program. So I think Mike just went to go handle the pup that was barking around. So we'll ask Chris to answer this one. So in February, Seville and Commerce announced a joint drill program on your property in northern Quebec. What can you tell us about how those plans are proceeding?
Yes, thank you very much, Colton. We're very happy to report that the Nunavik Medical Authority has given us clearance to start this program. The tentative dates for flying in would be July 10th at this point in time. As we have discussed previously, the intent is for Commerce to drill about 2,500 meters, mostly infill, and then the most exciting part is for Seville to drill approximately 1,000 meters on our niobium claim group with the intent, with the goal of coming back with an inferred resource along the lines of previous drill results that both Seville and Commerce have released, which would be an inferred resource of approximately 1% niobium, which would, for those in the know of niobium, that's about double the grade of any of the other niobium juniors in the market right now, and double the mining grade of Niobec in Quebec, which is the world's second largest niobium producer. So yes, we're very excited by this program, and the ability to fly in and out of Kuujjuaq on commercial flights allows us to mobilize the drill and the crew at a much lower cost. Even though the flight from Montreal to Kuujjuaq round trip is about $2,500 per person. But to fly in and out of, say, for example, Shefferville, that would have been just much more expensive. So we're very excited to have this program starting in early July, and we'll certainly keep you posted on this as we get closer to it, and on the results as we expect to get them back, I would say, in early fall of 2021.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. So that's all the email questions that we have. So open it up. There's been a couple questions in the chat, so if you want to scroll there, I think David Gower, you've been answering them for Emerita, so thank you. But yeah, if there's any other questions, feel free to write them in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll unmute you and you can ask them directly. I'll just give it a moment there.
That was read that comment to David Gower.
Oh yeah, so this is from Johnny Lambo. He's very active on Twitter. We love him. So thanks, David. In Gower we trust.
It's supposed to be in gold we trust.
All right, well, doesn't look like there's any other questions here.
You're welcome to ask questions in person. Just unmute yourself, and we'll recognize that and ask you to ask your question.
All right, one more here for David. This one is about the Alcura historical grades. Just want some information about those grades in the past. I'm just trying to find you here, if you're still here, David.
Well, David's a busy guy. I think he's gone on to something else, but we certainly will make sure that he gets that question by email, and we'll get that answer out to everybody.
That might be him there. David,
I'm here now. I just couldn't unmute it.
That's my fault. Sorry there.
I don't really have a lot of information on the historical grades from Alcura at this point. I mean, there are some high-grade copper values there. There's actually a shaft there and some underground development from about, well, we think it's probably a century ago. And of course, in those days, there was very little market for zinc. I mean, copper was king, as it is really still today, and precious metals. So we believe the reason that Alcura was focused on is it's the most copper rich of the three systems. Although Infanta is very copper rich, it would have been difficult in those days in terms of separating the zinc from the copper, where Alcura is more of a pure copper play, it seems. So we are getting a line on some of that drilling that was done there, and we're starting the geophysics, and a very senior geophysicist from the region has access to some data that he's going to acquire for us. So I can give you a better update on that in the near future.
Okay, thank you. That looks like it.
All right. Oops, excuse me. All right, folks, thanks for coming. Remember, my name is Dave Hodge. I'm the president of Zim2 Capital Corp. Your host today. Happy that you could all come. See you later.